Joining me today, you might recognize her, Courtney Stinson is registered dietitian and nutritionist and mom of two. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
You've had kind of a life-changing event in the last year or so. Talk about why we're talking about feeding tube nutrition.
So I never, when I went into dietetics, did I think that I would see a feeding tube again after I took my RD exam, because clinical was not anywhere near where I wanted to be. And then lo and behold, I had my daughter Ellie, and she has some severe disabilities. She has severe hypotonia, so she's not very mobile, and because of that, she does not swallow well, so she requires a feeding tube to get her food into her stomach.
So in the last year, you have had really to dig deep into your knowledge as a nutritionist, dietitian, and figure out ways to help her survive in ways that are also tasty too. I mean, they're also like beautiful, good nutrition for her body. So how about that like combo? I mean, is that really something that you are surprised that these are coming together for you?
I'm not surprised. I'm actually more empowered and excited because I've been able to focus on the positive and something amazing that has, blossomed out of this situation that at the beginning was terrifying.
Terrifying.
And, I've just been able to spin it around and help so many people feed their children better foods and just bring awareness and let them know that real nutritious foods can go through a feeding tube. You don't, because you have a feeding tube doesn't mean that you are stuck on formula your whole life.
Well, and that's the question. Like, you probably were given, here's formula, here's a powder with water. I mean, what kind of things do they give you in the beginning? And you as a nutritionist are like, I can't feed my kid this.
It was very, very frustrating in the beginning because, the one thing as a mother that you can provide for your child is to breastfeed. And, I was very, very fortunate that I could pump. And so she was able to receive breast milk for her first year.
That's
and
amazing.
we did have to supplement some formula because she needed more calories than what I could provide her. And so I'm very, very thankful that formula exists because it helped save my child. But there's some people don't need formula, and so I'm thinking, how can I'm her mom, what can I do? How can I help? Because in this whole mess, this whole medicalized situation, I felt really lost. Like, how can I help my child? And then it just dawned on me, she has a dietitian on her clinical team, and our dietitian is absolutely amazing. And in our appointment, I said, well, can't I just put food, can I just make a smoothie?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, yeah. And in fact, most people tolerate blended foods better than they tolerate formula.
So that was the first moment for you that you realized what you know and your life experience are going to really be you are in the right place for what's happening.
I was in the right place at the right time.
For this girl, she's one lucky girl. So let's talk about it. This is Tube Feeding Awareness Week coming up, and you've added something new to this whole discussion. So you've got some demonstration, just so people understand what, first of all, we've been showing your daughter's picture. She's adorable, adorable little baby girl. And there she is, little blondie. So you see there are some of the things that you have to do. You've got a syringe here.
So this is my pretend stomach. It's a mason jar, and it has a feeding tube button. So this is commonly referred to as like a Mickey button or a mini button. This is the G tube. So the top, this is the port. This is the part that goes inside the stomach. So this is just a little balloon filled with water. Okay. And that holds the button in place. It's not surgical, but there are different kinds. This is the kind that my daughter has. Okay. Right. So pretend this is, somebody with a feeding tube. Right. And so you open the port, and then this is the food that I've already blended for her. Okay. And so this is the feeding tube extension. So you connect the two, and some people use a pump. So it goes through the syringe. You have to hold the button still, put it in, twist, and then the food goes in. So I mean, it's just, for me, I try to feed my daughter as fast as like she would chew food and eat a meal.
Okay, you try to simulate what this would be like.
Right, and we sit her up at the table, and even though her food is blended, we give her parts of the meal, and she plays with it on her tray, and she can sample and taste things on her tongue, and anything that is
like a
pureed.
texture. Okay.
And we are working with her on swallowing and trying to take more by mouth. So she might be able to have 1/4 of a teaspoon of puree and sample it and try it, and we work on her swallowing.
So then the next level is, I mean, we do want you to try this at home if this is your situation, but we want you to do it with support and with good knowledge. This is not something you just, you know, oh, I think this would work. You really know what you're talking about. You are a nutritionist, a dietitian. She is an RD, and this is important that you get it right. This is life or death for your daughter because of the nutrition has to be right.
I mean, she could sustain life on formula, but she's thriving on real food.
See, there you go.
You know, and then the other thing is, for every person with a feeding tube, you know, whatever you're on, always before you make a change, consult with your medical team.
Absolutely.
Because that's...
Okay, so I want to let everyone know this website, courtneystinson.com, has kind of all the different things that she does, but on the one side there, talk about, you're calling it, Life, what is it?
Life with Ellie.
Life with Ellie. And then also for any family that's got a tube feeding situation, you are providing recipes and support. So you've got a lot to show us here. So let's just take a look here at some of the resources that you are kind of sharing on the blog.
Okay, so these are just a couple of my favorite resources. Feeding Tube Awareness Foundation, and they have a ton of information, and it's so underutilized. I see on Facebook groups and people are asking all these questions, and the questions are right there. It's a really great organization.
Connect with them
if
this is your situation.
And then this is a book that's new by a mom who has, and I actually got this book through her Kickstarter campaign, but I showed the video to my 5-year-old, and he was just like, well, Ellie has to have this book. And then of course we had to, you know, we had to like really up it and do everything, because she had to have a cape. So she has the Super Tubie cape. But this has been really, really awesome for my 5-year-old who does not have a feeding tube to just understand the whole thing and just to like normalize everything and realize that it's okay.
So and then you've got of course you're doing a lot of blending, and this is you use BlenTech.
I have a BlenTech. Vitamix is great. I mean, they're the kind of two major. So I have these kind of all sectioned out. These are all foods that I use regularly in blends at home and in creating my recipes for other people. So we start with a healthy whole grain. We add protein to it, some kind of healthy fat, fruits, whether it's frozen, fresh, dried fruits, purees. It can be pureed baby food, you know, fresh, canned, frozen. It's all great. Some kind of liquid. I really like to use kefir because it has probiotics in it. So a lot of really good, healthy bacteria for your gut. And a lot of these kids need that extra support, the ones who can tolerate dairy. And then herbs and spices and flavorings, even cocoa powder. Like, these things all have really, really, really great nutritious elements to them. Not necessarily calories as in fat and protein and carbohydrates, but all these really great phytochemicals and immune
It's what
boosting.
your body's supposed to have.
Yeah.
And you're ignoring it a little bit if you just give a formula. Not that, like you said, not that that's bad, but that there's a way to really enrich what you're doing.
Well, and if you talk to somebody who is an adult or an older child with a feeding tube, there's something about eating real food and eating with the family. It's social, it's emotional, it's, you know, celebratory. Food is so much in the family, so it's not just putting food into your stomach. And, you know, you can taste food that you've eaten when you burp.
Right.
So can you imagine unflavored tube feeding formula and that flavor coming up all the time?
That's such a great, this is what a mom thinks about. That's what a mom thinks about right there. I just thank you so much, and I will have you on again because she's doing a lot of different books. If this is I know that this is an underserved group of moms, group of parents, group of families. Visit courtneystinson.com. You can go to all the different areas, how she lives her life in this new reality, and how you have some support with these fantastic recipes and ideas that she has created for families who have an Ellie in their lives. Very helpful. Thank you so much. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about, it's actually Heart Health Month too, so we're going to talk about everybody's heart health and how to make sure that we're feeding our bodies the right way to stay healthy. Don't go away.